Things are always shifting, right? Always changing. A big thing I'll point out, make sure you always check out the Zillow view. The reason I say this is because, so obviously the questions that we need come up in any property submission. The address, year built, square footage, bed, bath count, contract price. This is contract to you, right? This is AB contract price. We all know and understand that we're submitting these deals for 100% retail, right? Hey, whoever's got wind in the background, make sure you guys mute yourselves. That makes it easy to go. We're submitting these things at retail value, right? So by knowing the AB price, we're partners, right? We're partners here. So I'm negotiating on your behalf to get it as high as we can, but at least knowing the contract price, I know how much room we have, and I'm pushing to try to get that as high as possible, right? But contract price, that's there for a reason, right? That gives us insight on the back end. Every time a submission comes through, we open up a file for that property, push it through the process, and as soon as we get an offer, I reach back to our partner before we lock up or execute anything, right? Two most important things in this submission is the monthly HOA amount and the property taxes. This is a buy and hold investor, right? So they're assessing these numbers off of cap rates. Now they're buying about a 5% cap, which is crazy. So monthly HOA amount is important. Make sure every seller, when you're in that sales process, ask them, hey, is there any HOA dues, right? Is this in the HOA association area? If so, what is that amount, monthly or annually, right? And then property taxes, you can find that on PropStream, NAR, wherever you're looking. Occupancy at closing, they will buy houses with tenants in place. In that case, we just need to know, hey, tenant occupied. As far as the lease, when did the lease start and what is the lease end date, right? Good to know if what the rent amount is, right? But that's really all we need to know. Hey, when does the lease end? What is the current lease terms? What is the rent amount, right? And then closing date, obviously knowing the closing date for AB contract. We are asking for 35 days, right? 35 days to be safe. Just because of the submission process, inspection process to get the ball rolling, that's the sweet spot just to make sure. Usually we can get deals closed quicker, but on your contracts, just make sure you got, I would say 30 business day close. That's what we put on all contracts, 30 business day close. Technically that buys you like 45 days, right? Condition of the property, good to know this, but you don't have to go in super detail. Hey, is it fair, good, or great condition? Does it need a new roof, new AC unit, any major systems, right? But no need to get in the weeds because we're submitting these things straight through. Fair, good, or great is good insight on our end, and anything additional you could provide, that's better, right? Inspection contact, we just ask for the sellers or whoever's in charge of the property management, for their contacts so that once we get an offer, we already have that in the system. We can reach out to them and we coordinate inspections on our end, pushing it through, right? We get the inspections done and then push it to closing. And then lastly, AB contract. This part might be a little bit alarming to some people, but again, we operate in full transparency, right? Everything we're doing, one, we're partners, right? We'll sign a JV agreement that says, hey, we're not going to steal your seller's information or anything else. You guys are protected, right? But this allows us to open up a file for each property, push it through the process, boom, right? Handle the closing from A to Z, right? From contract to close. Pretty simple, right? Now, as far as more information, partnership portal is full of buy box areas. I have folders set up for each fund that goes over property zip codes, heavy buying areas, and I have your purchase criteria, right? So going down with that, again, everything we do is built systematically to ensure a smooth disposition system, right? This document we keep updated. So for example, there's a couple markets that are on our buy box list. Here's the big buy box list. Couple markets currently have a buying freeze, right? That's these three markets highlighted red: St. Louis, Oklahoma City, Las Vegas, right? They filled their buying orders, maxed out in these areas. So they're like, oh, pump the brakes. We need to get in some of these houses, fix them up, rehab them, and get our feet under us, right? So my goal, as soon as any updates come from the funds, we're letting you guys know, hey, let's pause on the marketing in these areas, right? Detached single family homes only. If it's a duplex, townhouse, condo, mobile home, any of that stuff, they're not touching it, right? Detached single family homes only. Now we do have the buy box criteria here for Fund 1. But again, the strike zone, the sweet spot we see between like 110,000 ARV to 300,000, right? As we get towards the top of their purchase price, 350 and above, or even, so they will buy a little bit above 350, but that's just kind of like the cap, the guide map, right? But as we get above like 300,000 purchase, I've seen offers decline a little bit because it's a little bit harder to warrant a high enough rent rate based on the higher purchase price, right? Pretty simple. I mean, a $350,000 house probably isn't the most ideal rental, right? But anything 100 to 290, 300,000, like that's the strike zone, right? That's where they're coming in aggressive. Now, things are always shifting, right? Always changing. A big thing I'll point out, make sure you always check out the Zillow view. The reason I say this is because either that or Google Street, Google Earth, they don't like to buy on double yellow lines, right? It's just a busier street, more going on. So the first thing I do when I'm underwriting a deal is I pop on Zillow and I'll just take a little stroll around the neighborhood. Okay, nice. This is in a neighborhood. It's not a busy double yellow line street. Perfect, right? They like neighborhoods. This is actually a property that we have under contract with the fund set to close in 2 weeks. They're paying $299, right? $299. And I hate when my screen doesn't pull up sold comps like this. It's just wanting to stay with the for sales. Those are some new constructions. I'll let you guys dive in with some of that stuff later. But again, make sure neighborhood type settings are preferred, right? Watch out for the double yellow lines. If it's on a double yellow line, I've gotten some pass through as long as the speed limit's less than 35 miles per hour. But I'm going to say out of about 30 double yellow lines, I found one with the speed limit under 35. And that one we got pushed through, right? But that's kind of just the guiding line when I'm looking at it. I stay away from the double yellows. An acre or less is preferred, but in some of the heavy buy markets, which we'll touch on in just a moment, I do have the ability to expand to about 2 acres. Okay. So I can kind of walk you through those as we go. Now, at the moment, Fund 2 is most aggressive. Fund 2 is paying a little bit more than Fund 1. Now, this has recently shifted. I don't know what's going on the back end, but Fund 1 has given me a little bit lower offers over the past couple weeks. So I've been telling our partners, if you're active in any of these bigger markets and you're doing virtual, let's maybe start to focus on the overlapping markets that Fund 2 is in, right? So I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't see this changing anytime soon, these highlighted markets, Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, and Nashville are the top buy box areas, period, right? Not only do every single one of these markets overlap with Fund 1's markets, right? So we can shop the deal out to a couple different heavy hitters, but Fund 2 is hyper aggressive, right? Purchase price is around the same criteria. They'll actually buy 2-bed, 1 bath and up, where Fund 1 will only purchase 3-bed, 1 bath and up, right? Fund 2 will purchase 800 square feet and greater. Fund 1 is only 900 square feet and greater, right? So if you're taking this information and you're releasing it in your marketing, we provide everything for you. So we got each fund, I got a buy box folder, right? This is all shared with you. Fund 2, boom, opened up. We got a standard buy box zip code list. This zip code list is every zip code, every area that they're currently buying in these different markets, right? So Atlanta, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, Raleigh, Charlotte, Miami, right? And the list goes on.